Good morning. Welcome to the Smile Brands Non-Qualified Deferred Compensation Plan 2020 Enrollment Webinar. My name is Rodney Kaufman. I work with Seiju Advisory Group, who are engaged with Smile Brands to both administer the 401k plan and the executive benefits, which includes the non-qualified deferred compensation plan. Congratulations for being eligible to participate in this plan. It is offered to a select group of key employees. And while there are some similarities with the 401k plan, there are a lot of differences that I'm going to go through today. And for those who have been in the plan in previous years, there are a couple enhancements for the 2020 year as well. So with that, I will jump into it. First, for those who this may be your first year, just an overview on what a non-qualified deferred compensation plan is and what it allows you to do. First and foremost, it allows key dentists to defer income and save money for their future on a tax-deferred basis, and this is above and beyond the IRS limits that are imposed on the 401k. For 2020, that's $19,500 per year within the 401k. And then it allows you to invest those contributions, again, on a tax-deferred basis. The plan is administered by Fidelity. So if this is your first year, you probably have your 401k account through Fidelity. Well, you do if it's through Smile Brands. It's on the same website, a very similar user interface. And then finally, I'm going to hit on this a couple times, the real value of the plan is it allows for tax-deferred savings, as opposed to just taking the money and maybe investing it in a normal taxable Schwab brokerage account. By investing it tax-deferred, not only do you grow your money more, you avoid transactional tax costs while you're investing, so you're not stuck to one investment. And then hopefully, if you are using it for retirement, you will be able to pull your money out when you're in a lower tax bracket in retirement than you are currently. So moving into a little more detail, how these plans work is you are truly agreeing to defer a current portion of your salary to a later point in time. And that's how we are able to get around current taxation and move that taxation event to a time in the future. So that's where in the name, the deferred compensation plan comes from. You're truly deferring compensation. The other part of the name, non-qualified, that simply means that it is exempt from ERISA and many of the limitations imposed by a qualified retirement plan under ERISA. And the real construct here is for any ERISA mandated plan, you are not allowed to discriminate, meaning you're not allowed to offer it to only a key group of employees. And then why we offer this plan is it's designed to help you accelerate the growth of your retirement nest egg by allowing for contributions above the 401k limits, so above $19,500. It allows for tax planning, so amounts deferred exempt from state and federal taxes, allows deferred growth or deferred tax growth and really competitive investment options that we at Seiju are continually monitoring. It also allows distributions before age 59 and a half. So there's multiple ways that you can use this plan. You could use it solely for retirement, or you can use it as a tax-advantaged saving vehicle during your working career. I'll go into a little more detail on that. And then it also allows for certain matching contributions from Smile Brands, an extremely generous benefit. So first, looking specifically at the 401k shortfall, and this is really exacerbated in high income earners. If you're only earning $100,000 a year and you are maxing out your retirement savings in a 401k, between 401k savings and Social Security, you're going to be on place to, or on par to replace a good portion of your income in retirement. When your salary increases, when you move into the higher tax brackets, this shortfall starts to expose itself, where even if you're maxing out the 401k benefit, so say you start saving at 45, not uncommon for a lot of professionals who begin their careers later and then maybe working through student debt for the first portion of their career. But these professionals are often in very high, very high earners as well. So even if you max out your 401k and then taking the projected Social Security, assuming salary increases of 4%, 3% cost of living adjustment, and 7% investment returns, you're going to have this huge shortfall in retirement. And there's two ways to attack that. One, you can either plan to live a much different lifestyle in retirement, perhaps have your house paid off, not travel as much, or the other solution offered through the non-qualified deferred comp plan is to defer some of your income now as a forced savings vehicle for retirement, allow it to grow tax deferred, and then pull it out in retirement when you are in a lower tax bracket. And just looking at the power of pre-tax deferral, a lot of people will say, well, it's all the same if I just, I'll pay taxes on it now and then I'll save it in just a normal taxable brokerage account, and I'll end up at the same place. And that's not the case. So honing in here on the assumptions for this, I have it at the top. You're saving $20,000 per year under two different scenarios of 6 or 8% annual investment return, and some state, federal, and local tax assumptions. Under an 8% return scenario in a deferred compensation savings environment, you're going to save about $1 million after 20 years, and then when you take the tax hit at age 65, you're going to end up with $593,000. Under an after-tax savings environment, all the same assumptions, 8%, you will end up with $459,000 at age 65. And two additional benefits of the pre-tax savings here is, one, you will be able to change investment elections throughout your career without tax benefits. Meaning, if you decide to sell a certain fund at 5 years and you have a capital gain, you will not have to recognize that until the distribution. In an after-tax saving environment, anytime you buy or sell, it is going to trigger a taxable event. The other benefit is the Smile Brands plan allows you to elect an installment method. So instead of receiving that $988,000 all at retirement, you can elect to receive that over a 10-year period, which obviously is going to much reduce your marginal tax rate, and that $593,000 would be even higher than under the current assumptions. So then looking at, how much should you defer in the current year? Obviously, defer as much as you possibly can for retirement, as it makes sense in your current situation. But one strategy to help you come to this number is maybe look at what your marginal tax rate is right now, and then look at your salary and see if you are close to any of where those marginal rates change, and perhaps defer the money that you would be paying a very high marginal rate on this year into retirement when you're hopefully in a lower tax bracket. So obviously check with your tax planning attorney or look up the current state and federal applicable limits. But here's an example, just looking at federally for a couple who is filing jointly, that tax break occurs around 320,000. So say you're making 370,000. If you deferred that top $50,000 of your income, that would currently be taxed at a marginal federal rate of 32%. In retirement, assuming your income is below that $320,000, then you will only be paying a marginal rate of 24%, so an 8% tax savings benefit. Now, looking into the plan itself and some provisions, you are allowed to defer up to 75% of your base salary and 100% of your annual bonus. And then deferrals avoid federal and state income taxes until the receipt of benefits. That's when it's actually paid out to you. And then a note, once you make your deferral elections, they are irrevocable during the plan year. You will not be able to come back in June 2020 and change these elections except for extreme hardship with circumstances. So there are possible employer contributions to the plan, both the performance-based lead dentist benefits. There are other future incentives where it's open-ended that Smile Brands may be able to contribute to the plan, but is not bound or required to. And then contributions will be credited annually in the first quarter following the performance period. There is a vesting period attached to any employer contributions. For your employee deferrals, you are always 100% vested, but here are the applicable vesting schedules for both the lead dentist bonus, that would be a 4-year vesting period, and then any office growth incentive plan, a 3-year vesting period. Any death or disability would accelerate this vesting period to 100%. So once you defer, or once you decide how much you want to defer, the next question is how long you would like to defer it for and how you would like to be paid at the end of that deferral. There's really 2 main ways that you can choose to receive your money. First is at separation of service, that is either termination or retirement. And then the second is scheduling in-service distribution. Outside of that, really the only ways to accelerate receiving your money are unforeseen financial emergency. This is financial hardship. It is pretty difficult to qualify for this, and I hope no one ever has to apply for this. And then death and disability also accelerate. So first, I'm going to look at in-service distributions and why someone might choose this. If your strategy is to choose in-service distributions, you may not be taking advantage of the full tax benefits of the plan because you're going to be receiving your distributions while still working and likely while you're still in a pretty high marginal tax rate. But there are still tax benefits to saving in a pre-tax environment, and it's also a forced savings device. We all know that for a lot of us, if we receive the money in our bank account, it's a little more difficult to save it, where here it's a forced savings plan. So if you're doing an in-service distribution, first you need to select how much you're going to save for each year. So in this example, the person is saving $20,000 from their base salary and $20,000 from their bonus. For each plan year, you're going to have to elect when you would like to receive it and how you would like to receive it. So for this person, in 2020, they're looking out and they're saying, I have a child that's going to college in 5 years, so I'm going to defer all $40,000 for a 5-year deferral lump sum. They're going to receive it 5 years. That's going to pay for child one's college education. And they're going to choose a more conservative investment allocation because it's a shorter investing window, only 5 years. The next year, 2021, They say, I have child number 2 that's going to college in 2027. I'm going to choose a 6-year deferral and a conservative investment allocation. And maybe for this child, instead of doing the lump sum distribution, they're going to choose a 4-year installment method to pay for $10,000 each year for this college. The next year, they've got both their children through college. They say, hey, I want to save for a boat in 2031 once my kids are through college. They defer $40,000. They're going to choose a 9-year deferral, lump sum distribution, and maybe they're going to go a little more aggressive on this allocation. And so far, so you can see how this person's strategy is to use it as a savings vehicle, take care of the professionally managed low-cost investments, and take advantage of the pre-tax savings. So just to really hit this home, for in-service distributions, you must defer for a minimum of 3 years. You can defer up to 10 years. Then you have to elect your distribution method, either lump sum, meaning the entire amount that you deferred for that class year, you will receive in the year of your distribution, or you can choose the installment method. So say you deferred $40,000, you deferred it for 3 years, and you chose a 4-year installment method, you would receive $10,000 plus any applicable investment earnings in 4 equal yearly distributions starting in 3 years. The one important note, once you choose your distribution timing, how many years from now you want to receive the money from, under no circumstances except for hardship withdrawal, death, or disability can you accelerate that timing. You can redefer, but you must make that election 12 months prior to the first deferral, when you would have received the first distribution, and you must defer the entire distribution schedule for a minimum of 5 years. The second way that you can elect to defer your compensation is upon termination or retirement. And under this, you can do either the lump sum distribution or equal installments of 2 to 10 years. Here are the investment options offered within the plan. These don't exactly mirror the 401k, but they are very close to it. And then note that investment elections may be changed. SAGU is continually meeting with your investment committee on a quarterly basis and monitoring these investments to ensure that you have the highest performing, lowest cost investment options available to you. There are also target date funds available in the plan. Vanguard Target Date Suite, extremely low cost, passive investment options. If you have any questions on any of the investment options, I'm going to give you my contact information at the end of this, and I'm happy to walk you through it. An additional consideration, if you decide to defer compensation, is this will reduce your compensation eligible for the 401k in the current year. So note that you may have to adjust your 401k deferral percentage in order to hit your savings goal in the 401k. So just walking through an example here, this will not affect you if you defer 401k based on a dollar amount. Where this will affect you is if you elect a percentage deferral. So this person is making $200,000. They're electing a 10% deferred comp, and they have an 8% 401k deferral. So in the scenario where this person is not deferring any compensation, they would be contributing $16,000, 8% to their 401k. And the person, or in the situation where this person is deferring compensation, their eligible comp for the 401k would be reduced by $20,000, and then 8% of $180,000 would be $14,400. So just note you may have to change your 401k deferral percentage. A final note that we must give on non-qualified deferred compensation plans is since you are deferring the compensation in order for this arrangement to be recognized by the IRS, you are not allowed to have constructive receipt until the year of the distribution, meaning that all distributions are technically company assets, and in the unforeseen circumstances of a company bankruptcy, assets are part of bankruptcy proceedings. Now, in practice, we take every precaution possible to safeguard your money. There is a rabbi trust that's established and funded with contributions from the plan. This is meant to segregate your plan contributions from both management and from any creditors in the case of a bankruptcy. And then also these investments, the rabbi trust is funded and invested per your investment allocations. So there is a potential risk here. In practice, this plays out very, very, very few times, and oftentimes the bankruptcy judge may reorder claims in order to make sure that participants are made whole for their deferred compensation, but there is a risk here. If you want to enroll in the plan, you can go to www.401k.com. This is the shortcut for the Fidelity website, and it will take you to the homepage where you can enroll in the plan. And just as a reminder, you can defer 1 to 75% of your eligible base, and then 1 to 100% of any applicable annual performance bonus. Then you also choose your distribution elections, both the timing and the method of distributions through the Fidelity website. Additionally, on the Fidelity website, you'll be able to access your account on a daily basis to see account balances. You'll be able to reallocate investments, view your deferral elections, contribution, transaction history. You can use, they have a benefit and paycheck calculators to project your income in retirement. And then there's also a lot of research available as you're looking through the investment fund options. Finally, any questions for Fidelity, you can reach them 1-800-835-5097 to speak with a representative. And then here's my contact information, again, with Sagio Advisory. So any questions on plan structure or the investment options within the plan, you would come to me with them. For any administrative questions on how you change your deferrals, how you redefer investments, how you change your investment options, go to Fidelity for all of those. And with that, I will thank you for attending. Again, I urge you to take benefit of, or I urge you to participate in this benefit if you are able to. It is a really rich benefit that's offered to select key employees by Smile Brands Management. With that, thank you for attending, and I wish you a great day.